I have two ideas right now, and they're both grenade builds because I think there's high potential for grenades to be good with that new unique coming out. But even if we ignore the unique, we can still get some crazy stats here. We get 25 increased armor and evasion, we get flat cold, and we get flat lightning. Now, this is pretty new because it was pretty hard to get increased resistances on the tree, and usually the nodes were just like not worth going for. But now, since these are attached to already pretty beefy armor and evasion nodes, these are worth getting. And look, they're only like, you spend one extra point to get over to here. Boom, right off the side of the tree, super easy to get to. 48% of your evasion will now be deflection. And then attached right to the bottom is more armor applies to every single type of resist, including chaos, which is new because I don't think I've seen that anywhere on the tree before. So we get bonus other stats. Look at, there's 3 stats on each of these that we can get. So that's pretty big deal. Down here, we get even more deflection rating and armor. If we go over here, we get more armor evasion nodes. This one gives you 8% of your evasion as extra armor. This one gives you plus evasion for every armor on your gloves. So you can just build a flat, beefiest armor you can get on a pair of armor gloves, and you'll get the exact same amount of evasion, which is kind of insane. Jack of all trades, 2% increased damage per 5 of your lowest attribute. Our attributes will be increased by 7%. It's kind of similar to the mana stacking thing I was talking about in my other build. You should go check that out if you haven't seen it yet. All right, so I'm not going to read all these off. If you are really curious, you can pause the video. But basically, you get 270% increased damage, 67% increased AoE. This is the reason I want to go for grenades, because we can just make our grenades massive, especially with magnified area 2. Grenades will fire +1 grenade. Grenades have 15% chance to explode twice, especially with like cluster grenade, which shoots a ton of grenades out. You're gonna get 45 increased cooldown reduction. This will apply to your grenades. It'll apply to time of need if you get time of need. All right, here's your defensive stats. On this tree, there are 184 increased armor, 154 increased evasion, 63% of your evasion is gained as deflection rating. Now, this is where we get into the 2 different paths we can take. So let's go over the Witch Hunter first. Grenades have such big AoE and they can like overlap with each other. Calling Strike actually seems pretty good, and let me explain why. We got some nodes here. These all increase our attack damage versus rares or uniques. 40% increase Calling Strike threshold against rare and uniques. That'll help you kill bosses because they have a lower Calling Strike threshold to begin with. Right over here next to our Jewel Socket is even more. 120 increased Calling Strike threshold against rares. So with this one, all we'd have to do is put pin on our grenade skills, and that'll immobilize them, and then it'll increase the Calling Strike threshold by an additional 40%. We go Witch Hunter for Calling Strike because of these nodes right here. We get Calling Strike by default. Decimating Strike. When you hit an enemy that is on full life, Decimating Strike removes between 5 and 30% of their total life before the standard damage of your hit is calculated. So you're decimating enemies, and then Calling Strike comes into effect. And this gets even crazier because Witch Hunter has Witchbane. Enemies have maximum concentration equal to 30% of their maximum life. So keep in mind we're decimating Strike for up to 30% of their maximum life. So if we get lucky with our decimating Strike, we can trigger the max amount of concentration being broken on an enemy at once. So they take more damage based on how much concentration they've lost, which is this node up here, No Mercy. Deal up to 40% more damage to enemies based on their missing concentration. If that first or second grenade breaks their concentration completely, the third grenade might just do enough damage to cull it for most enemies. It gets even better. So if we go back to our notes, for gear, you can get a helmet called the Myris Uxor. It's a level 56 item. It gives you 100% increased Calling Strike threshold. So boom, now our Calling Strike threshold is at 220. So this is the path I would suggest taking if you want to go like a super OP bursty, like you're one tapping waves and enemies with grenades, right? This concludes my guide on the Witch Hunter Mercenary grenade build for patch 0.50. If you want to take a screenshot of my tree here, I'll give you a second to do that. Pause the video. We also have another guide for the Gemling Legionnaire. If you'd like to see what I have planned for that as well, you can click on the video that's going to show up here shortly. I'll be live on Twitch in 2 days. The link is in my description on my YouTube channel, so I hope to see some faces there. Come watch and see what build I end up planning on going first, because there's so many good options and I can't wait to see. I'll see you guys all in 2 days diving into that patch. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.